Are you planning a nonprofit fundraising event? Don't make some of my mistakes. In this video, I'm going to talk through some common nonprofit event fundraising pitfalls to avoid so that you can make sure that your fundraising events are worth it and meet your fundraising goals. Welcome back. I'm Amber Melanie Smith. I'm a nonprofit founder and social entrepreneur and speaker, and I help nonprofits and social entrepreneurs and other people who want to make a difference in the world figure out the steps to do that through videos here on this channel. So don't forget to check out my library of content all about fundraising, creating a social impact, starting an organization, and more. And don't forget to check out my website, foundertofulltime.com, where I have some articles and online courses to help you out as well. I have planned dozens, dare I say hundreds, I don't know, of nonprofit events, especially fundraising events over the years as a nonprofit founder and executive director of the nonprofit that I started, and I have seen it all. I have seen events that have completely flopped, and I've also seen and spearheaded events that brought in consistently 400 attendees year to year. So I'm going to talk you through 9 fundraising event pitfalls that you want to avoid to make sure that all that work you put into planning your fundraising event and executing it is going to be a good return on investment for your cause. And I'm going to break these down into 3 categories. Pitfalls to avoid during the event ideation phase, so when you're first coming up with the concepts for the event. The event planning phase is the second category. This is obviously when you're planning the event. And then the third category is event execution. So everything from the preparation to the actual event itself and afterward. Let's start with the ideation phase. The first fundraising event pitfall that you want to avoid is a lack of clear objectives. I have seen this so many times from myself in the early days and also from other nonprofit folks who are thinking of an event and they're just like, oh, I have this cool idea for a new event, and they're basing their planning and everything around it based on the cool idea instead of starting with the end in mind. And by the end, I mean the outcomes of the event. What do you hope the event will accomplish? What is it for? Who is it for? Why are you doing it? So a couple of common outcomes for nonprofit fundraising events that you might want to consider and figure out which one fits the event you want to plan include engaging or connecting to new people who might become donors or supporters or volunteers one day. Is it to raise a specific dollar amount? And or is it to deepen your relationship with current supporters? And based on this outcome that you choose and prioritize, because you could have more than one outcome, but you do have to pick your top priority outcome. Based on that, that's going to shape how you plan the whole rest of the event. An event that has an ultimate outcome of deepening your engagement with current donors is going to look very different from an event where you're just aiming for a specific dollar amount and you care less about the deeper engagement with your current donors. The second pitfall that you want to avoid in this ideation phase is a poor understanding of your target audience. Now, failing to tailor the event, its concept, how you plan it, to the interests and needs and desires of your target audience means that you might have low engagement or participation in the event. So you want to make sure that you are clear on who your target audience is for the event, and then let that help you shape what occurs during the event as well. Another thing to consider is if you are a newer nonprofit organization or you don't have a very large audience or network or base of supporters just yet, if you're not very clear on your target audience for this event, you might be facing kind of an uphill battle when it comes to marketing, because you won't be able to tailor your messaging to who you're trying to reach to be able to attract those people and give them a reason to engage with your cause. If you're struggling to think about who your target audience is or could be for a specific event, think about your organization's mission and what types of interests already align with that mission. For example, let's say you are an animal rescue organization. Then in that case, I would say having a barbecue fundraiser event is going to make a lot less sense than for example, a dog wash fundraiser, because people who are interested in animals or love animals might already have animals and might be willing to support the effort to support more animals. So a dog wash fundraiser is already going to attract people who are animal lovers. Now let's talk about some pitfalls that occur during the nonprofit fundraising event planning phase. The third pitfall I want to talk about in this list of 9 today is underutilizing technology. Please don't collect event RSVPs on a spreadsheet. There are so many tools out there these days that can help you streamline what you're trying to do and integrate the information that you collect from people when they're participating in your event to help you cultivate them as continuous and future supporters too. Technology can do so much. It can help you not just gather participant information, but it could also expand the reach of your event. For example, you might want to add a component of your event that is hybrid or virtual to try to expand your reach for people who maybe can't make it out in person that day or want to watch some aspect of what went down later. So thinking through, again, the target audience, the purpose of your event, and then you want to walk backwards and plan out what kind of technology you think you would need by making a list of the features that you need it to have in order to accomplish your event objectives. For example, if your event is a ticketed event, obviously you need a way to collect registrations and collect donations or ticket fees. You need to be able to maybe assign seats. Let's say it's a theater production. You might want to assign seats to the guests. Maybe you're having an auction, an online auction as part of your event. You need a tool that can provide those auction bids online. Maybe it's donation based. You need a tool that can collect donations of various amounts. So basically, you just need to think through what are the functions you need the technology to have, and don't be shy about investing the resources needed because it will make your life so much easier. And that is a great segue to talk about this video's sponsor, Argenta software. I've talked about Argenta on this channel before as a one-stop shop that can handle basically all of the needs for your organization, from project planning and management to helping your board stay organized to helping with your accounting. But one of the things I haven't talked about yet is its robust event planning features. Argenta's event features can do basically any of the things that I just described you might need for your event, from event ticketing to managing event sponsors to running an auction on the platform to managing your team that's planning the event to doing donor receipts and email marketing. And you can even use their forms to just collect donations from event participants who loved it so much that they want to give your cause even more money. It's really easy to get started and subscribe to Argenta software. You can get a free demo. You can even talk to their amazing staff by reaching out to them. I'm sure they'd be willing to give you some additional answers if you have any questions about how their software works. So once again, I always recommend Argenta here on this channel, but don't forget to check them out. I'm gonna leave the link where you can learn more about them below this video in the description. Don't hesitate to check them out and explore their various features, especially for events. All right, let's get into pitfall number 4 in the event planning phase, and it is failing to train volunteers. Now, I know I am guilty of this in my early years as an event planner / executive director. And what happened was we would have an event that needed volunteers, and we were just so excited to have volunteers who signed up at all that we didn't really give them a very good onboarding or explanation about what the event was about, or how the money would help our cause and all that stuff. I don't know if we just thought that they weren't going to need that information or if they didn't care, but we were wrong, because what happens is if someone is a guest at your event and there are volunteers around the event wearing their shirt that's for your organization, the guest is just going to have this psychological assumption that the volunteer knows everything about what's going on with the event, even if that's not true. So if a guest comes up and asks one of your volunteers a question and the volunteer does not know the answer, that is a terrible missed opportunity, and it also just kind of doesn't look good for your organization. But it's a missed opportunity because that that volunteer could have been equipped to be an ambassador for your cause and help you increase your fundraising success by being equipped with all the answers they needed to talk to that guest. There are two things you can do to avoid this pitfall, and the first is kind of obvious, and it's to hold an orientation or training event for the volunteers that you recruit to support your event. Make sure they know all about your mission, what the purpose of the event is, what the goals of the event are, and that they're feeling really excited and confident about their ability to talk to guests at the event. The second thing you can do to support your volunteers in this is create a talking points document where you write out some of the questions you expect guests might ask about the event and just give them a one-page document that has the answers to those questions. It's better than them not knowing the answers at all, even if they have to glance at a paper to answer the guests' questions. Pitfall number 5 is failing to accommodate legal or regulatory compliance issues. And that was a mouthful. But what I mean is sometimes events require special permits or special certificates of insurance, for example, in order to be run above board and make sure that you're not going to get in trouble with your municipality or something. Did I say that right? Municipality. You know what I mean? Your city, your community. So you just need to educate yourself on what are the rules of your region on certain activities. For example, a lot of events or event venues will require your organization to have event insurance. So you need to make sure you know what kind and bake the cost of that into your event budget. There are sometimes food or alcohol permits if you're trying to serve food or prepare food on site somewhere or serve alcohol. So make sure that you are familiar with your state or region's rules on if you can even sell alcohol at all. Some states are very strict about that, and you can only do it under certain circumstances, or you have to go through this kind of bureaucratic long process to get the permit for that. And in the same vein, educate yourself on gambling laws in your state. If you are, for example, trying to hold a poker tournament or a raffle, some states consider raffles gambling and have really strict rules on when and how you can do it, or if you can do it at all. So just make sure that you know what the rules are. Pitfall number 6 in the planning phase is no marketing strategy. I know I'm also guilty of this in the early days, but I have seen organizations who plan events and they plan out all the details from what the decorations are going to look like to who they're going to invite, but they didn't think through the outreach or the marketing aspects of that. How are they going to reach their target audience? What types of platforms are going to be best? Is there going to be a cost to run ads that is going to be important to making sure we get the word out? So what I have to say about this is don't skip this and don't skimp on it in your planning phase. Make sure you're already thinking about the marketing before you even set a date for your event, and thinking through what are the potential costs associated with printing or advertising or a media spot or whatever it is you think you might need. Bake that in the very beginning. All right, the last pitfalls we're going to talk about are part of the execution phase of the event. So this is actually doing the event and the immediate follow-up afterwards. Pitfall number 7 is a lack of contingency planning. That's right, you planned an outdoor event and then it rained, and you did not have tents, and you did not have a backup venue. Yes, this happened. And so this is a lack of contingency planning. So here's what you do. You do what's called a pre-mortem. And that is when you sit down in the planning phase of the event, so going back to that phase, and you and your team who's planning the event list out all of the possible things that could go wrong with the event. It rains. There's some disaster over here. We forget this, we do that. Write out everything that could happen that would have a negative impact on your event. And then in that planning phase, you and your team go ahead and brainstorm in advance how you would deal with those problems and go ahead and put those things in place. That way, if one of those problems on your list occurs, you already have a plan. You know what you're going to do, and hopefully you've already bought a tent in this example. Pitfall number 8 is overlooking the importance of the story and the impact on your guests at the event. So let's say you plan this beautiful, amazing event. It's a great experience, except people forget what the event is benefiting. Who is this organization? What is it doing? What is the impact that their participation in the event is going to have? So you don't want to forget this. This needs to be heavily baked into all of your materials. You need to have this written on your registration pages, on your website, on posters that are around the actual literal event space, in any social media that you do. What is the story? How is this helping your cause? What are the outcomes and impacts the event is going to have? Don't forget this part, and do it more than you think you need to do it. And the 9th and final pitfall we'll talk about today is inadequate follow-up with your event participants or donors. I get it. It's the event day, you're exhausted, you want to go home, you don't want to think about it anymore. Who has time or energy for a follow-up? But it's important to do, and it's important to do in a timely manner after the event, because a good event is going to drum up a lot of enthusiasm and excitement for your mission, and you want to capture that momentum forward instead of lose it. So what you can do is, before your event, you can plan out your follow-up email and just leave some blanks in there for things you need to follow up after the event, or follow up and fill in after the event ends, when you have collected some metrics about how the event went. Things like, if it was a top outcome was dollars raised, how much did your nonprofit raise? How will that make an impact? How will it allow you to serve the people you serve better because of that money? What was a cool story from the event, or a cool moment, or do you have any photos from the event? Making sure that people have this information within a couple of days after your event is going to help you carry that momentum forward. What do you think? Do you have any nonprofit fundraising event success or horror stories? I'd love to hear about them. Share them in the comments below. Like I said before, if you are in the process of starting a nonprofit or developing a fundraising strategy for your nonprofit, don't hesitate to check out my website, foundertofulltime.com, where I have some resources and online courses for you there. I also have a newsletter that I will link below this video, and you can subscribe and get tips and strategies and sometimes funding opportunities that I compile for my viewers, and they will hopefully be a good resource for you. And of course, you can opt out anytime the newsletter is not adding value to you. Finally, I have a group on Facebook called Change the World or Bust, where we have thousands of people from around the world who are making an impact, and I hope you can join us there. So thank you so much for watching. I hope this was helpful to you, and I'll see you next time. Bye.